everyone, my name is Gray. I am the dietitian and health coach with MLK Health Center and Pharmacy. So prior to COVID, we offered grocery store tours. Basically, we would get a small group of people together and I would lead people through the grocery store and just talk about some things that they could do to shop a little healthier. So obviously that's not really an option that's on the table right now. So we decided to do just a quick video giving you some of those tips that might be helpful the next time you're navigating the grocery store. Tip number 1, we have heard it before, but don't shop hungry. It makes it so challenging to choose healthy options. If you're hungry, if your blood sugar is low, you're gonna go for some junk. You're gonna reach for sugar. You're gonna want stuff that's gonna raise that blood sugar. So have a little snack before, don't shop hungry. Tip number 2, make a list and stick to it. This is not only going to help with your budget, but oftentimes it's a lot easier to make those healthy choices when you're not tempted by all the different things that you might find at a grocery store. So if you can have a concise list, just make sure that you're really exercising willpower for that time you're at the grocery store and sticking to those healthy items that you actually need. Tip number 3 is shop the perimeter-ish. And what I mean by that is, generally speaking, the things that are along the outer wall of the grocery store, so the produce section, the meats, and then maybe some of your eggs, cheeses, those sorts of things. Those are going to be healthier options, typically less processed foods. However, that does not mean that any item that you find on the outer wall is going to be a healthy choice and that everything on the center aisles is garbage. There are plenty of healthy options in the center aisles, things like whole grains, dried beans, certain condiments, pre-made broth or tomato sauce, those sorts of things. Those are all practical things that belong in a healthy diet. On top of that, there's plenty of, junky, sugar-laden things that you might find on the outer wall. So generally that's a good rule, but you don't have to be religious about it and follow that to a T, but something to keep in the back of your mind. Tip number 4 is to not trust these designated sections. So at my grocery store that I currently shop at, I've noticed that they have these natural food aisles where the banners are green and it's all sort of presented as like the healthy aisle. But there's so many options there that, it's still junk. It's still highly processed. It has lots of added sugar. It may be organic sugar or, there's some little caveat that for some folks, maybe they feel like it makes it healthier, but just because something is in what is deemed a healthy aisle or a natural aisle doesn't necessarily make it healthy. So be careful. Tip number 5 is that organic is not the end all be all when it comes to choosing healthy foods at the grocery store. I don't recommend necessarily that people shop organic. Just because a food is labeled organic doesn't mean that it's automatically a healthier option. It really just depends. I do realize that organic can be cost prohibitive, so that's certainly, I don't want that to get in the way of people maybe eating fruits or vegetables or things that they wouldn't eat otherwise. So if you are interested in potentially choosing organic foods, you've done your research and you feel like that's a good choice for you, a good place to start would be to look up the Dirty Dozen or Clean 15 list. So this has the top 12 foods with the highest level of pesticide residue. So you're going to get the most bang for your buck by buying organic for those particular 12 foods. Whereas the Clean 15, these are foods that really don't have a lot of pesticides, so it may not be worth the extra money to buy those organic. Tip number 6 is to read the ingredient list. The packaging on foods can be incredibly deceptive. They know what colors and pictures and words and phrases you're looking for to get you to buy their product. If you really want to get the full picture on a food, you can't just check the nutrition facts and the calories and all that. The ingredient list is really where you're going to find that. So seeing all the ingredients that are going into that food, if it's a long ingredient list with a bunch of complicated things that you've never heard before, probably a good sign that it's not going to be the best option, so you might want to put it back. Tip number 7 is to consider your entire shopping basket. And what I mean by that is frequently when we're talking about nutrition, we get a little too dialed in and we focus on these individual products. Is this good? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it bad? Instead, I'd rather you kind of fill your buggy with what you think is healthy and then really take a step back and consider everything you have in your basket. Do you have a good selection, a variety of fruits and vegetables of different colors? Do you have some whole grains? If you do have some maybe junk food, snack food, is it just taking up a small portion of your buggy? Or are you finding the opposite, that your buggy is full of all kinds of kind of junk food, snack foods, that kind of thing? When you consider the whole picture like that, it can give you a better idea of the quality of your entire diet instead of just focusing in on this one single food. I hope these tips are helpful on your next trip to the grocery store. We do plan to start offering our grocery store tours again once all of the COVID restrictions and regulations are to a point where we can safely do that. So if you found this information to be interesting and that's something that you would like to know more about, then certainly keep us in mind and hopefully we can get you into one of our next grocery store tours once we start offering those again. If you have interest in other nutrition or wellness videos, please check out our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.